Creating an identity entirely out of lines has some unique opportunities and some dangers. Let's talk about it. As with fragmentation, the technique of rendering a whole identity with lines alone risks making some of the lines or spaces too delicate for clarity in small sizes or viewed from a distance. Drawing lines that are too lightweight for the overall size will make the whole logo too insubstantial. Deadly sin of logo design number 2, lack of mass. If lines are close together, it is safest to make lines and gaps the same thickness. Why? Because sooner or later, gaps become positive lines and lines become gaps when the identity is reversed. Most of the samples here have decent mass. When designing with this technique, a good test is to print a design at no bigger than 1/2 inch on plain paper. If it is indistinct or begins to blur or fill in, either the rendering needs to be simplified or the lines or gaps in between need to be increased in weight. Tools like Adobe Illustrator are particularly good at keeping strokes exactly the same and separating one stroke from another at exact distances. Line end caps and corners can be blunt, mitered, or round. Generally speaking, fewer lines are better than many. Heavier lines are better than fine. Some of these logos could have been stronger taking that advice. A good rule of thumb is make all lines either uniform thickness or of variable thickness. Don't mix techniques. Remember coincide or contrast. We now can make vector strokes of variable thicknesses. Here again, strive for the beauty and grace of simplicity. Bezier curved lines are inherently more graceful when the fewest possible anchor points are used. The same advice applies to making lines thick or thin. The fewest changes will give the most graceful lines. Even lines that just taper at the ends and are mostly uniform thickness otherwise can be effective. Another consideration is how lines join at the corners. If they join with sharp points, that can accentuate the curvilinear quality of the line. Ironically, lines joined with rounded corners will just look blobby and not produce as curvaceous an effect. The secret to elegant thick and thin lines is to have only one thick spot per line or one segment between corners. You can go thin to thick or thin to thick to thin. As with most other techniques in this section, there is a certain amount of discipline and artistry to it. But all such techniques are learnable, and this is one that can be a very valuable skill in your branding arsenal. For more information, go to logodesigntheory.com. If you found this helpful, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and please share this with anyone who needs to know more about logo design.